Alrighty, part 2. Let's do it. So, you see here how we have two junglers that are both dropping pretty low during their clears. Now Magath is gonna do a classic little situation here. Like, let's analyze why this wave swapped around, because the idea was that Pickles wanted to get pushed in. If Pickles gets priority, that's absolutely fine, but then we need to make something happen elsewhere. Again, we want to have something to happen somewhere on a map. And if it's not in one part, we want to do it in another part. So if top lane's like, okay, I'm pushing actually because I got a lead, then that means he's free to engage in this jungle. If we know that Sejuani's top side, where does she go next? Either she goes base into her bot side, or she goes into mid lane. So if mid lane is completely secure, then we know, let's say, like, someone pops a ward defensively in that river, then Elias can just go to the Raptors, right? She doesn't have to clear her own jungle camps because Sejuani can't get there in time. Again, you want to make sure you go for some situation in which you get a benefit out of the pressure you have. If you're ahead in top lane with the Renekton, there should be no way that you have no lead at all drawn from that, other than Renekton getting a few CS. So you see this here, this. Aggressive. More aggressive is always better. Don't be scared. If you have to use your flash once because you're wrong, again, it's that risk perception. Don't worry about it. Just go in here, pop the ward down where it used to be, and just do it again. Just plop the ward down, like, check it. Pressure her. The deeper the better, really. And if you make a mistake once, we're not going to chastise you. Alright, that's a flash right there. Okay. This is a crucial moment. What do you do when this happens? Think about it. How much CS does Sejuani have? She's 20 CS. How much CS does a single jungle camp give? The answer is 4. Always. Unconditionally. Okay. So, if we go to the minimap, she has... Okay, this is still bugged out. She has 20 CS, right? Which means 20 divided by 4 equals 5 camps done, right? So she did 5 camps. And we know that she started at red buff, right? Red. And then we don't know if she took Raptors or whatever she took, right? We know she took a Scuttle somewhere. And we know she took a blue. That leaves 2 camps. So usually that would be... we already know that she also took Gromp at, like, somewhere towards the end for some reason. Which is silly, but that's what she did. She should be doing her Raptors and Krugs, but because they give, like... Only Krugs give more experience than Wolves... I think it gives more experience than Wolves, Blue, and Gromp, but at least gives more experience than Blue and Gromp. So absolutely insane. So it's just nonsensical on a champion that has AoE wave clear to be clearing that Gromp instead of going straight to your Krugs if it's unspawned, if it's already respawned, or if you didn't even clear it. Okay, so the 5th camp is either Wolves or Raptors. And Raptors, if those are the 2nd camp, so let's say you clear a buff at roughly 150, that means it respawns 2 minutes 30 later. I can't type towards my right side anymore, so that is 4 minutes and 20 seconds, right? 230. Add 3 minutes, subtract 30 seconds. Easy peasy. So, okay, all jokes aside, it's 3:38 right now. So, if we didn't know that the Raptors were up, we know that it probably respawns at right around 1 minute. 1 minute, if you go base, going base, that takes 10 seconds, right? I can't really write with this stupid setup that I have. So you got 10 seconds to base. Then you walk on the map, which is going to take roughly 20 seconds of walking. And after that, you got 30 seconds to spare. So 30 seconds is enough time to, for example, invade Raptors. Maybe even take them if they're up, ward. If you thought these, you didn't know if they're up or down, right? Or if they're coming up in just a second. So what you can do is ward it if it were down, and if it's up, you can just take it out and do the ward, right? And let's say it were down and it's just respawning, you ward, and then you can either make a circle around the jungle, or if you're too scared or whatever it is, right, you go and take the scuttle while you watch the situation on the raptors, and then you move on, right? You move on to like gank or like camps or invade or crossover through mid. Everything is on the list there. So that's, you got a certain sequence that's pretty tight, that's pretty clear and pretty straightforward, so everyone knows what to expect in the next minute. Means that bot lane would ideally want priority, right? They want to slow push right now on the current waves that they have and finish a slow push at some point and go in deep ward, because it matches the timers of the jungle, right? In 1 minute. So it's a lot of timings, a lot of strategy. Let's get back into the game and look at what actually happens, okay? Don't want to bore y'all. You see how Pickles Man has an isolated lead. This is what I call an isolated lead. So you have leads that are easily transitioned, roaming, getting kills, etc, etc. This is what I call an isolated lead because you can't really use it to get an advantage on the map here, since all these camps are down. And here you see what my play was, is to go base. Not because, in terms of experience, if I were Sejuani, and you don't know if you can invade the enemy jungle, then the best place to just clear some camps right now. But you see how my play, you will always get these raptors, right? Because you have a tempo advantage on the Sejuani. When she flashes over that wall, you can base right there, and you will always be able to pressure her on this camp, right? You look at mid lane, right? Mid lane has the priority. So if you got Raptor camp, you got to look at the mid lane priority. This camp, all that matters is if someone in this lane, even if it's just a support, is able to come out and help and cut you off, right? So it's a different scenario than the Raptor camp. Like, it's not really like, even if your team is pushing them, sometimes they can still leave and get here first, simply because it's so deep into the map, right? This is much closer. It's just a little corner like this. Gotta realize that. This as well is a lot deeper. But Renekton can still walk around, so he has to have finished the proper slow push. With mid lane, it's like, even if the slow push, even if you have few minions remaining, it doesn't really matter. You can get here quite fast. So you want to pressure. Again, we have CC everywhere. Any lane you gank, you're gonna get something done. Oh, the micro. Oh, that's a juicy proc right there. You can really hug the wall, like, absolutely hug the wall as much as you can. This is a really awkward situation, because essentially, here you can differentiate between the animation of the W and the regular auto. So, like, she could theoretically see that coming and, like, predict it. What you want to do here is, when you do that, you want to move to the left side afterwards. And then she bodges her parry as well, because she doesn't get this proc. But as you can see, that one doesn't quite work out. The biggest deal here is that if she actually reacts to the stun here, you can see the difference between a regular auto and a stun. Which can be hard, like, especially if you use like a sequence like auto W, it becomes really easy to just gamble and predict it. And you can't do anything against it, so you're forcing yourself to play this rock, paper, scissors game, where really, if you look back on this lane, you were in control at one point, right? Here you were in control. All you gotta do is hug the the right side here, not give her the procs, deny her the CS, and here you just stand on the left side. Right, you get this CS, for example, you know that there's a minions dying over here, you take the trading stance. This is the crucial moment where you get to know if she's emotionally biased and wants to essentially kill herself on the cannon minion. So you want to take a trading stance. Your trading stance, you're making a prediction and a read on your enemies based on a very simple property, namely that people